This is part 3, section 4 of our Vectorworks 2021 drafting tutorials. In this section, we're going to look at creating the second set of box booms in our theater. So I've got my Laughter on the 23rd Floor drawing open, and I'm going to select just the plan view portion of our box boom 1 left. So that I can duplicate and move that to represent where our 2 box booms are going to be in the space. So I'm going to Command D to duplicate, Command M to move it, and I want to move it 8 feet 8 inches on the x-axis and minus 19 feet 7 inches on the y-axis. Okay, and if I zoom out, here's the new position of my box boom number 2. So the second box booms are going to be a little bit different than the first. Instead of a 4-foot pipe, they're only going to have a 2-foot pipe. So I need to double click on this group to enter it. And I'm going to select the rectangle, which is the portion I want to manipulate. And I'll come up to my object info palette. And I'm going to select the top center point. That's where I want the change to originate from. And I'm going to click in the width field. And instead of 4 feet, I want that to be 2 feet. So I'm going to tell it minus 24 inches. And enter. And now it's changed the size of that rectangle, which is exactly what I want. So I'll click up here to exit the group. And there we go. Next, we need to duplicate the symbol that we created in the previous tutorial for our box boom 1. So we'll come up to our resource manager, and in Laughter on the 23rd Floor, under hanging positions, here's our box boom 1 symbol that we've made. We're going to right click on that and come down to duplicate. It's going to give me a new dialog box asking me to assign the name of this new position, and it's going to suggest that the name be box boom 2, and that's perfectly fine in this instance. So we're going to click OK, and there's my new symbol, box boom number 2. Now, since we changed the length of the pipes for box boom number 2 in plan view, we need to do the same thing in the elevation view. So we're going to be in our resource manager. We're going to right click on box boom number 2 and come down to edit 2D components. And that's going to take us into this screen. We're inside the symbol. We actually need to enter the group to change the size of the rectangle. So we're going to double click on it to get inside the group. And I'm just going to click an empty space to deselect all of the pipes. I only want the vertical ones. Those are the only things that are changing. So I'm going to select all of those. And I'll come up to my object info palette. I want the top center point again. And this time we're going to be changing the height. So we'll select all of that and tell it that we want this to be 2 feet. Enter. And those have all been changed. I'm going to exit the group, and then I'll do it one more time to exit out of the symbol. And now my box boom number 2 symbol is different from my box boom number 1's. So we're going to go ahead and insert this. So in our resource manager, we'll double click on box boom number 2 to select it and zoom in on our plan view portion until we get the center right smart point and click twice to insert our box boom. There it is. Now, once again, in our object info palette, all this is, according to Vectorworks, is a 2D symbol. It's a group of objects that we've created into a symbol. It does not know it's a hanging position at all. So we need to change that like we've done before. Going up to Spotlight, Object Conversion, Convert to Hanging Position. Our geometry is just fine. We'll say yes. And we want to name this position. We will call it box boom 2 left. Click OK. There's the name of our position. And in our object info palette, we now know that it's a hanging position that is box boom 2 left. Like we did before on box boom 1's, I'm going to grab this blue handle by the position name and just move it down someplace where it's a little bit easier to read and reference both the plan view and the elevation view of that position. Now that I've got both of those, I'm going to select both of them by shift-clicking on both the hanging position and the group representing the plan view. And in my basic tool palette, I'm going to grab the mirror tool and I'm going to mirror that across center line, holding shift to lock the direction in place. And when I zoom out, there's our box boom number 2. Notice that it still says box boom 2 left because that's what we just mirrored, which isn't actually the case. We only have one box boom 2 left. This one needs to be box boom 2 right. So I'm going to deselect it and just select the hanging position itself and come up to Object Info Palette, and I'm going to change the position name to box boom 2 right. Click Enter. That's been changed. It's been updated in my name here. So that's all set. I'm going to fit to page, and that's it for section 4 of this tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and save my file. And in section 5, we'll work on creating the focus points of where the lights are actually going to point.